Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'm going to be showing you two cards I created with this cute little Darcie stamp set called Scary Halloween. I am showing you guys the tin pins that go with the stamp set, but I don't end up using them just because they're a little too dimensional, and I do sell my cards and I want my customers to mail them. But I'm also going to pull in an older stamp set from Darcie's called Fabulous. I'm also going to use a memory box spiderweb and then a few Sherry Lynn die cut bats to accent my cards. I started off by stamping out the two ghosts from Fabulous on vellum, and I'm going to white heat emboss them. And I also stamped those ghosts onto Bristol cardstock along with the two cats from the Scary Halloween stamp set. I'm going to focus on that cat wearing the mask in today's video, but I'm going to showcase that other cat in an upcoming video. But I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess of my Bristol so I can work on a smaller space here, and then I will be coloring these images in with my zigs. I have been using them a lot lately. I still have not refilled my Copics, and that's because I'm working on something that's costing a lot of money right now, so I really am like frugal with my spending, but I am working on expanding my business and I'm really excited about that. I can't really tell you guys what I'm doing yet, but it is coming soon, sooner than I thought, but I'm really excited, so stay tuned for that, I guess. But I am sticking to my zigs for now because I do enjoy coloring with them. In fact, when I color, I only use two markers pretty much all the time, and I use my water brush sort of as my highlight color. So I would actually recommend with zigs that you don't have to go with the full, like, I think the pack I have is 72. I started my first year with zigs with just 24 markers, and honestly I'm still using those same 24 markers. I have the 72, but I really just use two markers per image. For the ghosts I only use one, so I really enjoy working with this medium. It does give you shading, but at the same time it's much quicker than Copics. And you use up less ink because, as you can see, I have a lot of open white space as I'm going over this image with my water brush, and that water is just going to pull that pigment from the edges of the cat's face and body towards the center, and again that's naturally going to create a center highlight because it's going to get a little bit lighter as you move the pigment from the edges to the center. I will say, even though I clear heat emboss these images, which gives you a boundary for your watercolor, I was still, for some reason today, coloring outside the lines. So the eyes on my poor cats got pretty black. So I'm going to go back over them with a white gel pen, but I ended up gluing Google eyes over anyway, so it doesn't matter. And if you wanted to use those tin pins, you could definitely do that, and you don't even need to color in the face. But at the time I was making these cards, I thought I was going to use the tin pins, so I did decide to color them the way that they're colored on the tin pins, but I just felt like they were just a little bit too heavy and two dimensional. I think they would be really great on tags, so if you're going to give out little goodie bags to trick-or-treaters and you wanted to create some quick tags, I think the little tin pins are a quick way to embellish a tag. So I might do that this year. I don't know. I always enjoy giving out candy to kids, but I don't know if there's going to be trick-or-treaters this year or not. Either way, it'd be so funny to give a Corona-themed Halloween tag to a little kid because I'm sure they're all going to be wearing masks on top of their masks. I can just imagine a little kid dressed up as Superman or something, and he has to wear a face mask and like a medical mask. So just a really cute stamp set. So now I'm coloring in my ghosts, and like I said, I'm just using a light gray marker, and I'm adding the color to the edges of the ghosts, and then I'll take my water brush and blend that gray out. It does leave a bit of a harsh line if you don't blend it, but it's also going to leave you with a little bit of shading around the edges of the ghosts. So I thought about giving my little mustache ghost some cheeks, but his mustache would have ended up covering his cheeks, so I used my paper towel to remove that pink color, and I only added it to the female ghost. And I'm going to give her a little orange bow. I did stamp, color, and die cut 2 of each image. And I do use most of the images, but I did have some leftover ghosts. I didn't use all the vellum ones either. I wanted to create the same card twice, but change up the colors and change up the ghosts. So one of my cards, this one right here, is going to feature the colored ghosts, and then the blue one that I'm going to create after this will feature the vellum ghosts. So for this card, I'm going to ink blend some seedless preserves around the edges of this card panel. I think this is Nina, cut to 4 by 5¼ inches. And I'm leaving some white space in the center to add my Twisted Citron Distress Oxide ink. The blending brushes that I'm using are by Picket Fence Studios. I will have them linked as well. By the way, the Scary Halloween stamp set that I'm using can be picked up at the Not Too Shabby shop. And I know Scrappina also chose this stamp to feature on her YouTube design team for the Not Too Shabby shop. It's just a really cute set. It wasn't planned. We both just really like this set. So hopefully there's still some available because she posted her video a few days ago. And I'm going to have another video featuring this stamp set. So hopefully it won't sell out before my second video. But it's really, really cute. I wouldn't be surprised if it sold out. And if you want to use a 10% off discount code, you can use N2S10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. I also use affiliate links, which really help me out. All the money I make goes back into my channel. So yeah, if you want to use those and support me, that would be awesome. So here is that spider web from the memory box die. I cut it from black cardstock. I'm pulling in my little cat and my ghost, and I'm just kind of laying out my card here. I purposely wanted the spider web to cover most of that green area, so I focused the green more towards the top left instead of the center because I knew the cat was going to be off to the right and it wouldn't be perfectly centered. So I'm happy with that layout. I can go ahead and stamp out my sentiment, and I wanted to lay it over that spider web, and the best way to do that I felt was to stamp it on vellum. So I stamped the sentiment with VersaFine Onyx Black ink on my vellum, and I'm going to clear heat emboss it just because vellum is a slick surface. So one rub is going to completely smear that sentiment, so I did want to heat set it. And then I just cut it into a rectangle, and I like that you can still see the spider web behind it, but the sentiment still stands out enough for you to read it. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue down my bats first, and I'm going to glue them flat. I'm also going to glue the spider web flat with art glitter glue, and then I'll pop up my ghosts and my little kitty. And then for the sentiment, because I'm using vellum, I had to be careful with my glue placement, so I only added glue behind those bolded letters on the sentiment, and also on the corners where I knew my ghosts would cover, because you can see the glue underneath the vellum, so I am trying to be careful here. I actually was a little bit heavy-handed with the glue on the vellum ghosts, but I think for the most part I think it looks pretty good. So here I'm just laying everything back on, and now I'm going to add my foam tape and pop up my little images. And I did use U-line foam tape for that. And so this is where I decided that I thought Google eyes would be adorable on this card. And if you follow me on Instagram, I add Google eyes to a lot of my Halloween cards. It's like the only time of the year I feel like you can use them. And they're just really fun. Especially that little cat just looks so goofy with the mask on. So I'll just attach those with art glitter glue. You can pick up these teeny tiny Google eyes at Michael's. And there are some that are even smaller than this. So I have 2 sizes, but I kind of like the larger ones for these images. I think that just added a lot of cute character to the card instantly. So just to embellish this one, I'm going to take some Trinity Stamp ladybug spots and scatter them in a diagonal onto this card, and I'll just attach those with my art glitter glue. And then that's going to pretty much complete this card design. I'm just going to glue this panel onto my 110-pound white Neenah A2 card base, and that will leave a white border all around. I thought about doing black, guys, but I just felt like the white tied in better with the ghosts and overall made it pop a bit more than the black. But it was a difficult decision, as you can imagine, because black is 95% of the time what I go with, but I do think the white looked really nice. So I'm going to attach that with ATG tape, and then I'm going to show you part of my second card. It's basically the same design, so I figured you guys didn't want to see me rebuild the card, but maybe you would be interested in the Distress Oxide inks that I used. So I'll just show you the ink blending and then how I put the card together, but I'll do the gluing off camera. So for the Distress Oxide colors, I used Chip Sapphire and Stormy Sky. I felt like my Stormy Sky and Chip Sapphire blended a little too good, like it just seemed like one solid color by the end of it. So I am going to add black soot just around the edges to darken it a bit. So here's that Stormy Sky. And I did blend this more towards the center, but I wish I went more towards the left like I did on the last card. So here you can see the two colors are really similar, so I felt like the black would be a nice contrast. And then I'm going to also spray some water splatters with my Distress sprayer, just to add a little bit of texture into the background. And then I'm going to pull in all of my die cut images and arrange the exact same design. I cut the spiderweb from silver foil cardstock this time, and here I'm swapping out the ghosts for vellum. I felt like the vellum stood out more on the darker background. And then I have the same black ghosts, but I think they would be cool cut from silver as well. And instead of embellishing this card with the black ladybug spots, I decided to go with a silver embellishment to tie in with that silver spider web. Let me know which of these two cards you prefer. They are the same design, but they're slightly different. I'm a little bit more partial towards the purple because I love the Google eyes on the ghosts. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet already, please subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye!